The biggest difference between those who succeed and those who quit. Imagine waking up tomorrow with absolute certainty that everything you desire is already on its way. Not a fragile hope. Not a temporary positive thought. But a conviction so strong that your actions, your decisions, and your attitude would change immediately. This is one of the most powerful ideas found in Napoleon Hill's teachings. After studying some of the most successful people of his time for decades, Hill noticed a pattern that appeared again and again. Winners did not think like ordinary people. They did not act like someone who was trying to get something. They acted like someone who had already decided they would achieve it. There is a huge difference between wishing for a better life and living like someone who knows that better life will be built. Most people spend their days focusing on what is missing. Lack of money. Lack of opportunity. Lack of recognition. Lack of luck. And while they focus their attention on scarcity, they end up strengthening exactly what they do not want. Great achievers do the opposite. They develop the ability to see possibilities before they become visible. They learn to act before confidence is complete. They learn to believe before evidence appears. And that is exactly what you are about to discover today. Because the way you think directly influences the way you act. And the way you act determines the results your life will produce. The invisible power of identity. Napoleon Hill stated that every achievement begins in the mind. But many people interpret that idea superficially. They think it simply means wishing for something intensely and waiting. That is not what Hill taught. What he discovered is that there is an invisible force controlling our daily decisions. That force is identity. You will always act according to what you believe you are. A person who sees themselves as a failure will make decisions that match that image. A person who sees themselves as capable will make completely different decisions. Look at someone who believes they do not deserve prosperity. Even when an opportunity appears, they find reasons not to act. They doubt. They postpone. They create excuses. Now look at someone who deeply believes in their potential. They also feel fear. They also face difficulties. But they keep moving forward. Because their identity is different. The truth is simple. You do not receive from life what you occasionally desire. You receive what you consistently demonstrate that you believe. And this is one of the reasons why so many people remain trapped in the same results for years. They want to change their lives without changing the image they have of themselves. The exercise that changes your mind. Hill taught that the brain is influenced by repetition. Anything you repeat consistently eventually becomes accepted by the subconscious mind. That is why dominant thoughts have so much power. Think for a moment. How many times a day do you tell yourself that you are tired? That you are behind? That you cannot do it? That the situation is difficult? Without realizing it, these messages are being recorded. And what gets recorded begins to influence your actions. Now imagine doing the opposite. Imagine starting every day by reminding yourself who you want to become. Imagine repeating your goals with emotion. Imagine visualizing your life already transformed. Not as a fantasy, but as a direction. That is exactly what great achievers do. They feed their minds daily with images of success, growth, and achievement. Because they know the mind works to turn into reality whatever it receives repeatedly. Why most people fail? There is a reason why many people spend years consuming books, videos, and courses without changing their lives. They accumulate knowledge. But they do not change their behavior. Napoleon Hill observed that knowledge alone does not create results. What creates results is consistent application. Many people know exactly what they should do. They know they need to learn more. They know they need to take more action. They know they need to abandon destructive habits. Yet they continue postponing. The problem is not a lack of information. It is a lack of decision. Decision creates movement. Movement creates experience. Experience creates growth. And growth produces results. As long as you wait to feel confident before taking action, you remain stuck. Winners do things differently. They act first. And confidence appears along the way. Because confidence is not born from theory. It is born from practice. The faith that turns possibilities into results. Napoleon Hill considered faith one of the most powerful forces of the human mind. But he was not talking about passive faith that simply waits for something to happen. He was talking about active faith, a deep inner certainty that drives action even when results have not yet appeared. Think about a builder. Before laying the first brick, he can already see the completed building in his mind. He does not wait to see the structure before believing it exists. First, he believes. Then, he builds. That is how every great achievement works. Ordinary people often say, when I get results, I'll believe. Extraordinary people say, I'll believe until the results appear. That difference changes everything. When you believe in yourself, you act with greater confidence. When you act with greater confidence, you notice opportunities you once ignored. When you notice opportunities, you make better decisions. And when you make better decisions, your life begins to change. Faith does not eliminate challenges. It prevents you from being defeated by them. So whenever doubt appears, remember a simple truth: every great achievement was invisible at one point. Every company, every fortune, every innovation, and every personal transformation began as an idea in the mind of someone who chose to believe before they could see. Stop consulting fear. One of the greatest traps that prevents growth is constantly consulting fear before making a decision. Have you ever noticed how many people have a habit of imagining everything that could go wrong? Before starting a project, they think about failure. Before making a change, they focus on the risks. Before trying something new, they worry about criticism. Napoleon Hill identified this clearly in his research. He discovered that fear of poverty, rejection, criticism, and failure destroyed more dreams than any external obstacle ever could. Fear creates paralysis. And paralysis creates regret. But there is one question that can completely change your perspective. Instead of asking, what if it goes wrong? Ask, what if it works? What if this opportunity is exactly what you have been waiting for? What if this challenge is preparing you for something greater? What if this step that seems small today is the beginning of a massive transformation? People who achieve great results do not ignore risks. They simply refuse to let fear make their decisions. Because they understand that life changes when courage takes control. The law of organized action. Many people have dreams. Some have goals. Very few have plans. Napoleon Hill taught that desire without action is merely an illusion. It does not matter how badly you want something. If there is no consistent plan, nothing will happen. But here is an important detail. You do not need to have all the answers before you begin. In fact, nobody does. Great entrepreneurs, leaders, and achievers started with limited information. What set them apart was their willingness to act, learn, and adjust along the way. Most people wait for the perfect plan. Winners begin with the possible plan. And as they move forward, the next step becomes visible. It is like driving at night. Your headlights illuminate only a short distance ahead. Yet that is enough to complete the entire journey. In the same way, you do not need to see the whole path. You only need to take the next step. Progress does not belong to those who know everything. It belongs to those who keep moving forward. The persistence most people lack. There is a reason why so many people abandon their goals. They underestimate the amount of time required to achieve meaningful results. We live in a world that values speed. But reality still follows the law of process. A tree does not grow overnight. An athlete does not become a champion in a week. A great company is not built in a month. Everything of value requires time. Napoleon Hill observed that many people quit precisely when they were closest to success. They interpreted temporary difficulties as signs of failure. But true winners saw those difficulties as part of the journey. They understood that obstacles are not proof of inability. They are tests of commitment. Ask yourself, how many times have you given up because results took longer than expected? How many times have you mistaken delay for impossibility? Persistence is what turns a goal into reality. Not because it eliminates problems, but because it prevents problems from ending your journey. Anyone who keeps moving forward, even slowly, will inevitably move ahead of those who chose to quit. You become what you feed. Imagine two seeds planted in the same soil. One receives water, sunlight, and care every day. The other is ignored. Over time, the difference becomes inevitable. The same law operates within your mind. The thoughts you feed grow stronger. The beliefs you reinforce become more powerful. The emotions you cultivate begin to influence your decisions. Napoleon Hill taught that the subconscious mind accepts whatever it receives repeatedly. That is why it is so important to pay attention to what you consume every day. What conversations dominate your days? What thoughts do you repeat most often? What information are you allowing into your mind? If you feed fear, fear will grow. If you feed scarcity, scarcity will grow. But if you feed growth, discipline, and confidence, you will begin developing a mindset capable of producing completely different results. Your mind is fertile ground. The question is not whether something is being planted. The question is what? Act like the person you want to become. Here is one of the most transformative lessons in this entire video. You do not need to wait until you become successful to start acting like a successful person. In fact, the process works in the exact opposite way. First, you change your actions. Then, your identity begins to change. Ask yourself, how would a disciplined person act today? How would a confident person respond to this challenge? How would someone committed to their goals use the next few hours? The answers to these questions reveal the path forward. Most people wait to feel motivated before taking action. Winners take action even when motivation does not appear. Because they have understood a powerful truth. Emotions are temporary. Habits remain. And it is habits, repeated daily, that build a person's destiny. When you begin acting according to the person you want to become, you are sending a clear message to your mind. You are telling yourself that you no longer belong to the old version of who you were. You are choosing growth. You are choosing progress. You are choosing to build a new reality. Wealth begins long before money. One of Napoleon Hill's greatest discoveries was realizing that wealth does not begin in a bank account. It begins in the mind. Many people believe they will become confident when they earn more money. That they will become courageous when more opportunities appear. That they will find peace when their problems disappear. But Hill observed exactly the opposite. The people who prospered first developed a prosperity mindset. They learned to see abundance where others saw scarcity. They learned to look for solutions while most people complained about problems. They learned to take responsibility while others searched for someone to blame. The truth is that your current situation does not have to determine your destiny. Many of the men Hill interviewed started without resources, influence, or obvious advantages. But they possessed something incredibly powerful. A vision greater than their circumstances. They refused to allow their present condition to define their future condition. And that same choice is available to you today. It does not matter where you are. What matters is the direction in which you are moving. Because wealth is always created twice. First in the mind. Then in reality. The power of quiet decisions. Not every decision that changes your life is dramatic. In fact, most of them happen quietly. The decision to wake up earlier. The decision to study when no one is watching. The decision to keep going when quitting would be easier. The decision to believe in yourself when no one else does. These choices may seem small in the moment. But they carry an extraordinary cumulative effect. Napoleon Hill taught that success is not the result of one single event. It is the result of hundreds of small decisions aligned in the same direction. While many people are searching for one big opportunity that will change everything overnight, winners understand something different. They know that the future is being built right now. In this hour. On this day. Through this choice. Every decision strengthens an identity. Every action reinforces a belief. Every habit builds a destiny. That is why you should never underestimate the power of small actions. They may seem insignificant today. But they can completely transform your life tomorrow. The test everyone faces. There comes a moment that everyone must face. A moment when the results have not yet appeared. When the effort seems unrewarded. When doubt tries to convince you to stop. Napoleon Hill observed that this is exactly where most people quit. But it is also exactly where winners separate themselves from everyone else. Because they understand something that few people truly grasp. Success rarely happens in a straight line. For a long time, it may seem as if nothing is changing. But beneath the surface, something is being built. It is like the Chinese bamboo tree. For years, it develops invisible roots. To an outside observer, it appears that nothing is happening. Then, when the time is right, it grows rapidly. Most people abandon their dreams during the root-building stage. Winners remain steadfast. They keep working. They keep believing. They keep moving forward. Even without applause. Even without recognition. Even without immediate results. Because they have learned to trust the process. And those who learn to trust the process develop a strength that very few people possess. Think and act as if you already have it. Now we arrive at the heart of this message. When we talk about thinking and acting as if you already have everything, we are not talking about pretending. We are not talking about denying reality. We are talking about developing the mindset of the person you want to become. Ask yourself. If you were already the strongest version of yourself, how would you act today? If you already had confidence, what decision would you make? If you fully believed in your potential, what step would you take right now? The answers to these questions reveal something important. Many times, you are not waiting for an opportunity. You are waiting for permission. Permission to believe. Permission to begin. Permission to grow. But no one can give that to you. That decision must come from within. Napoleon Hill spent decades studying extraordinary men and women. And he found one characteristic they all shared. They decided to take control of their own minds. They decided not to be ruled by fear. They decided to act despite difficulties. They decided to continue despite obstacles. And it was that decision that transformed their lives. Perhaps your current reality is not yet the one you desire. Perhaps there are challenges that seem bigger than you. Perhaps there are goals that feel far away. But remember one powerful truth. Every great achievement began when someone chose to believe before the evidence appeared. Every transformation began when someone acted before feeling completely ready. Every victory began when someone chose to move forward. So starting today, think differently. Speak differently. Decide differently. Act differently. Not because you have already arrived where you want to be. But because you are becoming the person capable of getting there. And when your thoughts, your decisions, and your actions are aligned with this new identity, success will no longer be a matter of luck. It will simply be a matter of time. Because the outer world always ends up reflecting what was first built within you. And your new story can begin right now. Napoleon Hill's practical exercise, the 5 minutes of your new identity. Before going to sleep tonight, set aside just 5 minutes for this exercise. Close your eyes and imagine that 12 months have already passed. Visualize the version of yourself who has achieved what you desire most. See the details. How do you speak? How do you walk? How do you dress? How do you respond to challenges? How do you feel when you wake up in the morning? Now ask yourself the most important question. What would this version of me do tomorrow morning? Write down the answer. It can be a simple action. Wake up earlier, read 10 pages of a book, make an important phone call, organize your finances, start that project you've been postponing. Then, the next day, take that action without negotiating with yourself. Napoleon Hill believed that success does not happen when you change your life. Success happens when you change your daily habits. Repeat this exercise for the next 21 days. You will notice something remarkable. Your confidence will increase. Your mindset will begin to change. Your decisions will become stronger and more decisive. And little by little, you will stop acting like a person who wants to change their life and start acting like a person who is building the life they desire. Remember, you do not become what you desire. You become what you practice every day. Before we finish, I want to give you a challenge. Napoleon Hill taught that knowledge only becomes power when it is put into action. And right now, you have two choices. You can close this video and continue living exactly as you have been, or you can decide that today will be the beginning of a new mindset. If you've made it this far, write in the comments. I am already becoming the person I want to be. This simple commitment may seem small, but it represents a powerful decision. When you declare something, your mind begins working in favor of that new identity. And if this message spoke to you, leave a like right now. Every like helps this content reach people who also need to hear this truth. Subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications, because here you'll find teachings designed to strengthen your mind, build your confidence, and help you create a life filled with greater purpose, prosperity, and fulfillment. Remember, winners do not wait for the perfect moment. They create the moment through their decisions. So don't wait until tomorrow. Don't wait for ideal circumstances. Don't wait for someone else to believe in you. Start today. Start now. Because the life you desire is waiting on the other side of the decision you've been postponing. I'll see you in the next video.